That bitch. That bitch is fucking strong. When you have Judal saying that, that Magi greatness time, people. Yo! This is how you start up a fight. This is how you showcase a fucking true beast. So going to be doing a double review in this one. Going to talk about the Magi chapter first, then Boku no Hero chapter 10 and 11. I know I said I was going to wait a while, and I probably won't do 12 and 13 consecutively, but I really wanted to talk about these chapters, and from time to time I might do so, depending on, again, my schedule. I don't have much to do today, so I thought I'd do it. But let's first jump into that Magi greatness. The invasion begins, and Hakuryu and Judal are standing there firm. Now, I didn't really realize how much damage Phoenix had done to Hakuryu and continuously done. I thought once he stabbed his leg, a lot of it was going to be solved and like it was going to kind of fuck off from his mind, but he is still struggling with Phoenix, so that is definitely slowing him down. I wonder if he bursted in there without having Phoenix fucking with him, how different the fight would have been, because I mean at the end of the day they're struggling right now as it is against Gyoukuen, so maybe if he was full powered it would have been a little bit different. And if you notice, Judal totally respects Hakuryu at this point. I mean, he's like, move your asses, the king's coming through. For him to say something like that, I honestly feel like Judal definitely found what he was looking for. And I've said this already a couple of reviews, but he was looking for a friend and somebody, a comrade, and he totally found him. And that's why he's like, with utmost respect, this is the king. And yeah, you've seen the development of Judal right before your eyes. And I knew there was something off about the two old dudes in the last chapter at the end when they were giving that weird look. I was like, was it that they were, you know, disappointed? Was it that they were just in disbelief? What the fuck was up? But the fact that they went against Hakuryu, even though they knew his father, ultimately, like, I think this is the big reason why Hakuryu was pissed off as well. Nobody wants to split the Ko in half, so they just allowed this fucking monstrous bitch to run everything and fuck everything over, and that's why she's been taking advantage as well. Nobody wants to cut things in half and start a war. So ultimately, like, Hakuryu, yeah, I understand him. It's like, now these two motherfuckers want to get in his way as well because they don't want to split the Ko in half. Maybe you need to fucking split it in half so you can get a better fucking product. And Hakuryu's anger, oh man, Hakuryu was like, I'm not having this, bro. It just gave them the fucking look, and I think he put them on the belly hole as well. It's like, fuck these motherfuckers. Ain't got time for that. And honestly, this was just jam-packed with epicness. This was jam-packed with fucking epicness as hell when you got Hakuryu there standing like, we're about to kill you, bitch. And then Judal breaks the news to her like, ain't been your subordinates for a while. We've been tricking your dumb ass. Did anyone else want to rip Gyoukuen's head when you saw her using Shaba's Borg and she's like, oh, I got it from a little girl that I knew once upon a time. I was like, really? Really? Fuck you. Which also demonstrates that she really don't give a fuck about anyone because those were all her servants, and instead of like trying to get rid of Hakuryu and Judal first, that way she can ultimately free them, she just killed everything in sight. So she don't even care about her own Altharman members. She don't care about anything for that matter. You would think, okay, they were all on her side. She wouldn't give a fuck to do, you know, any wrong to them, but she just destroyed them anyway, although they all turned into those little dolls, so maybe she really didn't kill them? And yet again, once again, showcasing the development between Hakuryu and Judal. The fact that Hakuryu saved Judal, they were both saving each other from Gyokuen's fucking wrath, so you definitely can see that they have slowly become very close comrades, and in all honesty, we know at this point, well, from what we've understood anyway, Gyokuen's been defeated by him. They both were able to take her out. So with taking Gyoukuen out, if they continue to beef up their army, it's only a matter of time until they're going to go against Ko. But, I mean, damn. And since when the fuck could Hakuryu use extreme magic? He must have learned that from when they were all using it against the medium at the end of the Magnestar arc when everyone was using extreme magic. I'm guessing that that's where he picked it up from, and that's how he knew it, although he wasn't able to execute it because he got fucking Phoenix draining him, which unfortunately, if you look at it, Koen is, if anything, helping Gyoukuen in a way in this battle simply because of that thing that he put in his head. I mean, if that thing wasn't in him, they probably would have been able to have a little bit better of a chance. This was the same bitch that betrayed King Solomon in the past, defeating Shaba, and did all this fucking chaos. So I don't know necessarily if that's the truth. We gotta wait and see. I don't 100% buy that Ren Gyoukuen is completely dead after this fight. I don't buy it. And the fact that Gyoukuen can steal black root from everyone. You definitely seen it that she took all of their black root, which I'm imagining once they defeat her, they'll get it all back. But one thing that she said caught my interest. You're 1,000 years too early to steal that person's favor from me. Meaning favor, I checked it up to make sure which type of favor they were talking about. And favor is like liking or preference. So that person, she's either talking about Il-Ila or David. And David, you know, wanting, because we don't know necessarily at this point if the black root is still 100% from Il-Ila when it went, you know, all black, or again, the whole theory about David, and that's why he's, you know, everyone is hearing those voices. But when she was talking about that, she was basically trying to say, I think, you know, I'm the originator, and regardless if it's David or Il-Ila, she could steal black root. Like, how fucking strong is this bitch? And in just one blast, she fucking started disintegrating that fucking cathedral that they're in. Crazy fucking setup for this fight. I mean, it already began. You got an injured Hakuryu with Phoenix fucking destroying him, and it's for the most part Judal that has to try to do everything, although I'd imagine whatever Hakuryu is going to do in the end is going to be able to defeat Gyoukuen, because it has to be him. Remember, they said he defeated her, unless he's faking this entire time about Phoenix, and in actuality, just when she thinks that he's there, like, you know, he's going to get up and stab the fuck out of her. And if I had to describe this chapter in one word, epic. That's really all that I gotta say. It was just really fucking epic with Gyoukuen there, that sinister smile, that panel with her face yet again. I love that art style. When Shinobu Otaka uses that, I'm like, oh, it looks so evil, and I love it. It's so creepy. And with all that being said, I'm giving this one a very good 8.5 out of 10. Very good start to the fight. You got an injured Hakuryu. You got Judal. You see that there's development in them. They're working together. Ultimately, Judal respects Hakuryu. Who would have thought he would respect anyone, let alone Hakuryu? And then you got Ren Gyoukuen living up to the fucking name that she's had as a beast, also being able to steal the black root. Is it because she's that connected to Il-Ila? Could it have something to do with David? The fuck's up? And how do you think they're going to be able to do it? Do you think Hakuryu's faking that Phoenix is still in his head just to get her at the right time? And your thoughts of this epicness. And now the Magi portion of this review is done. Going to talk a little bit about My Hero Academia chapters 10 and 11. So we finally got the finale of Izuku and Bakugou's little battle or whatever. Of course, you had Uraraku and Ida on the side, but for the most part, mainly this was Bakugou and Izuku's fight. And I mean, I gotta keep saying it. It reminds me a lot of that Naruto part 1. It looked straight up when they were clashing at each other like Naruto and Sasuke. And it's really showing that at the end of the day, Izuku is a very good strategist. The fact that he was like, all right, I will get my ass kicked, but I'm ultimately going to make my team win, helping Uraraku. I was just like, that was fucking great that it wasn't just like, oh, you know, I got to fuck him up. Although, to be honest with you, again, I know I keep saying it, but I'm going to be, 100% real. It does remind me, it was kind of like, I got to scratch your headband, so technically it wasn't them going full force. And even with Ida taking the win out of this whole fight, even though Team Heroes won, ultimately Ida was the one that actually got the victory. It was like Shikamaru winning the tuning exams, even though he didn't necessarily win. It was like, yeah. And I think these 2 chapters was one of the first steps for Bakugou to go down that path of being a villain. I honestly see that this loss that he took to Izuku is going to make him super salty. I mean, at the end of the day, regardless if Izuku tried to say, oh no, this and that, to him, I lost to this fucking scumbag, lower than dirt shitbag. So these might be the seeds of hatred that have been planted, even though he tried desperately to stop him. And I feel as though sometimes I want to smack the shit out of Bakugou, because as much as Izuku keeps on trying, no, it was this, no, please, he's like, oh, so you're looking down on me. It's like Izuku could tell him, you have the biggest golden dick in the world, and he's going to say, you're trying to talk shit about my dick? And if you notice, there's already progression with people's point of view of Izuku as well. When he went back to school, it was already that people were respecting him. They were like, ooh, Izuku for the win. Oh, man, you're so awesome. So in 11 chapters, he's already gained his classmates' respect. He's no longer looked at as that weirdo. How the fuck did he get into the academy? Now he's like, yo, you're awesome. Which in a sense, if you think about it, in 11 chapters, this is very fast paced. Like, I don't know if the author was just quickly trying to grab people's attention. That's why he's done all these things. Like, the main hero and his rival already had a scrape. It wasn't a full-blown scrape, but they already had one. You have him already gaining respect. He has somewhat of a quirk, even though it's not necessarily his own homemade quirk. It was kind of like given to him, but we've gotten a lot of advancement in 11 chapters. And one of the big things that I think is going to be major foreshadowing for later events is I think Izuku fucked up. I think the moment he told Bakugou, I got this power from someone else, I can't say who, but it's not really mine, Bakugou's salty. And we see those villains at the end, which means we're already going to have like some sort of attack on the academy, which could get very interesting. Ultimately, if Bakugou is salty enough and they, corner him and they say, that kid, where did he get that power from? Or they ask him questions and he can start thinking to himself, okay, this and that, and he give them some information. And I think that that's one of the biggest mistakes that ultimately Izuku could have done. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if at some given point All Might dies because of something that Izuku did. And if he did, that's going to be major character development for Izuku. And I know we're only 11 chapters in, but it definitely could head that way. I mean, it just felt as though it was foreshadowing for the end of the chapter when you had All Might talking to the nurse about his powers, and she was warning him, and he was like, nobody knows about these powers. They could have been overhearing right there, or it could again be something to do with Bakugou cornering him. I don't know exactly where it's going to be, but something about this secret about All Might, you know, his power and him giving it away and him being injured is going to lead to his downfall, unfortunately. And 10 and 11 were very good stuff, very fast-paced. Again, I feel as though this manga is blitzing by to probably get to its own route. Let me know what you thought about Bakugou and Izuku's fight. What did you think ultimately about Bakugou losing? Do you think that this is going to set Bakugou to be like a major villain? Or is he going to learn from this and ultimately decide to be on Team Izuku or Team Deku? And your overall thoughts of these chapters? Again, I'm not promising I'm going to review every chapter. It's kind of going to be eventually when my schedule opens up. But for now, these were some kick-ass chapters, and I'm just enjoying the ride. But that's all I have for this long review. Thanks for watching, especially if you watched all the way through. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you do so as well, that'd be awesome. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.